Automation test process. So I think everyone knows about this automation test process because if you guys have an experience in automation testing field, so obviously I hope everyone understand what the process that I am talking about, because we are talking about Cucumber regularly, right? So from where this Cucumber has been originated, how to start with Cucumber, how to select the tool, what type of things that we need to categorize, all these things will comes under the concept of automation test process, or it will be test automation process. So first thing, the first and foremost step when we are talking about automation test process is test initiation. Second thing is test planning. Third thing is test analysis. Sorry, we can make this as a second step. Test analysis, test planning, test design, test execution, and test report. Test report. Main phases of testing life cycle or automation test process, we can say. Main features of main phases of test automation process or automation testing process, we can say: test initiation, test analysis, test planning, test design, test execution, and test report. Remember that every phase is having its own importance based on the priority level what we have been conducted. Okay, so first thing, test initiation. Test initiation is nothing but how to start the testing process, or how to start the automation development on a project, and how to initiate the development, how to initiate the automation development is nothing but test initiation. So who will perform this test initiation phase, and who is going to perform this test initiation activity is, as we know, it is nothing but QA manager. So what type of things that we are going to consider, what factors that impact on the test initiation process? First thing is risk management. Risk management. So under this risk management, there are three types of risk. One is resource risk, technology risk, third one is support risk. Technology risk and support risk. So hope everyone knows about this concept under this risk management. There are three types of risk. One is resource risk, technology risk, and support risk. These three risk management factors impacts on the test initiation process. Due to that reason, first we need to think about resource risk. Are there any risk in resource management? Suppose, let's say for example, a project needs 10 resources to automate, but if we have only 5 available resources, then we need to recruit 5 more resources, or we need to get 5 more resources from other team. Like that, we need to analyze whether there is a risk resource in this project or not. Second thing is technology risk. Are we able to get the sufficient softwares in order to automate this project? Suppose, let's say for example, to automate an application, I need Selenium WebDriver. So is the Selenium WebDriver latest version available with us? Yes. If available, how to get that Selenium WebDriver? And next thing is support risk. So are there any person who is supporting this functionality? Suppose if I want to automate an application, I need that functional requirements. How to design the script based on the functionality. So who will support in that point of time? Support risk. So all these factors will impact on the test initiation process. Based on these factors, test initiation process will be conducted, and then the acceptance will be done by the QA manager. Once the test initiation and acceptance has been done, the next job is test analysis. What is this test analysis? Does anyone knows about this test analysis? Anyone have any idea? Any guess? Okay, let me explain you. Test analysis. This test analysis is nothing but it is a simple and very easy phase what we are, but very important, and which plays a very important role in the automation test process. It is a simple phase but plays a very important role in test automation process. Why? Because test analysis will explain you how you are going to analyze about the automation test process, first thing. And second thing is how you are going to analyze about the functionality to automate, second thing. Third thing is what are all the softwares required and what are all the version compatibility required for this test analysis, third point. Fourth point is tool selection. Tool selection. To automate this project or to automate this product, what tool we need to select? Do we need to go with commercial automated software, or do we need to go with open source automated software? If it is open source automated software, is it functional or performance? Yes, it is a functional. What are all open source functional automated open source softwares? So like Selenium, we have some other tools but which are not having demand in the market, but first priority is for Selenium. Okay, fine. Selenium automated tool has been selected. In that Selenium tool, what type of framework that we need to use? Do we need to use BDD or hybrid framework or keyword driven framework or only data driven? Like that, what type of framework that we need to use? All these comes under this analysis part where you are going to create a structure of that particular automation process. Once you finalized what type of things that we need to use in order to automate a project or product, then you'll have the complete structure of that particular automation test process. Then only we can say test analysis phase has been completed successfully. Anyhow, when you are working or when you are designing the script, you will get so many ideas that will be a not part of this test analysis phase. Due to that reason, I am saying test analysis, we are saying that analysis means it's simply analysis, but it plays a very important role in test automation process. Remember that not only in automation test process, in every phase, if you are going to analyze something, means it is very important to analyze in a proper format. That is what I want to convey here. Third thing, I think everyone knows about this concept of test planning or test strategy. So some of the organizations are including this test strategy document inside the test plan itself. Few organizations are following these two documents as a separate document. Test planning or test strategy. So if you guys have any questions, please stop me there itself so that I'll explain you one more time. Okay. This is the most common thing that we are discussing now. Due to that reason, I am moving somewhat in a fast manner. So if you guys have any questions, just stop me there itself so that I'll explain you one more time. Okay. So test planning or test strategy. So test planning or test strategy is nothing but what plan do you have in your hands in order to automate this project. Means not only the planning purpose, it explains what type of testing activities that you are going to perform in this automation test process. So generally automating a project is nothing but, so what type of activities that you will perform means, if it is a Selenium, then you are going to perform functional regression testing. If it is a JMeter, you are going to perform for performance testing. If you are going to have SOAP UI or REST, you are going to perform web services. If you have JED, you are going to perform security testing. Like that, different automation tools have their different activities, supports by their different testing activities. Like that, for our current session, we are discussing about Cucumber. This Cucumber or framework. This Cucumber is a framework where we are going to automate this complete project by using some sort of automation tool like Selenium. That is what we are discussing now. In the test planning, we are going to include what type of activity that we are going to perform and what is your plan when you are going to complete this one, how many resources are there. All these comes under test planning or test strategy. If you want to differentiate test strategy separately, test strategy is a document where you are going to have the number of resources, how many hours they worked, and what type of task that you have been allocated to them. All these things will come under test strategy document. Next thing, so test design. So test design is nothing but once you have done with your planning what type of activities that you want to perform, the next and immediate phase is you need to start the designing process. So this designing process includes test scenario designing and test case designing. Test scenario designing is nothing but what type of scenarios or what type of functionality that you want to automate, and in that functionality what type of features that you want to automate is the second thing, which is nothing but test cases or test scripts, right? So in this test design process you are going to design the script. This is what where you are going to use the Cucumber in this test design phase, right? You are trying to design some automation scripts, you are trying to design or develop automation scripts. So you are developing something means based on the learning methodology only we are going to develop such type of automation scripts or something like that. Due to that, in this design phase you are going to have scenarios designing as well as scripts designing by using Cucumber, what we are going to deal with currently. Next thing is execution. So you have designed automation test scripts by using Selenium with Java or Selenium with Cucumber framework or TestNG framework or Poem or something you have done something by using this framework or automation tool or anything in this test design phase. But whatever the design activities that you have been done, you want to execute all the scripts in the test execution phase. Means executing the scripts is nothing but test execution activity what you are going to perform. Once you have done with your execution part, once you have executed all the scripts or required scripts what you want to execute, you are going to generate. Means is it a manual activity or the system activity to generate the report? System will generate the report internally, and you are going to take that report from that automation tool and you are going to convert it into your required format. Generally, Selenium will generate the report in HTML format. If you want to convert that HTML report into some other format, you can easily convert that into some other required format. It may be Word document or PDF or something like that. It's all about depends upon the requirement. So there is no restriction to have the report like this only, but by default, Selenium generates the report in HTML format only. So any questions in this automation test process? Is framework decided by team lead in real time? Yes, it's all about depends upon the requirement, type of requirement what we have received. Decided by team lead only. Team lead along with test manager or QA manager. So it's all about the decision making, right? So the decision making depends upon the analytical part also. Suppose let's say for example your team is having 5 to 6 members. All 5 to 6 members are having hands-on experience with TestNG framework. No one is having hands-on experience on Cucumber. Then QA manager or QA lead obviously gives the priority for TestNG framework first thing. If nothing is there in their hands, then they can go with Cucumber and they have to get other candidates, or they are going to give training to the existing people or something like that. They are going to provide all those things to have that Cucumber knowledge in their team. So that will be decided by team lead or QA manager. So now I am going to explain you the installation part. So don't get confusion, just I'll list out what are all the requirements that we need to download. So I'll send this content to you so that you can install, you can download and you can install in your system, and I'll show you the configuration once everything has been ready in our system. So today I'll list out all the requirements that we need to have. Okay, first thing is download and install Java. Set up Java path in environment variables. Third thing is download and install Eclipse. Fourth one is install Cucumber Eclipse plugin. Fifth one is download Cucumber. Sixth one is download Selenium WebDriver client. And final one is configure Eclipse with Selenium and Cucumber. These are all the required things that we need to have in our system in order to automate a project by using Cucumber, by using BDD framework. So download and install Java, set up Java path in environment variables, download and install Eclipse, install Cucumber Eclipse plugin, download Cucumber, download Selenium WebDriver client, configure Eclipse with Cucumber and Selenium. These are all the step-by-step process that we need to follow in order to install and configure Cucumber into our system, so that once we have installed or once we have downloaded everything, once we are ready, we will start configuration part of Cucumber. So do you guys have any doubts in the installation part, in the required things part? No? Okay. Now moving to the concept of Selenium. So yesterday we have designed one basic script by using Jerkin language, right? So whatever the language that we have written, which is nothing but Jerkin, as we discussed, but we have few other keywords in the same program, in the same language, in the same Jerkins language, which is nothing but Jerkins keyword. Jerkins keyword. First thing, we already know about these keywords: given, when, then. Apart from this, we have few more we have used in our program, which is nothing but in our script, and, or. We have few more which is nothing but feature. Next thing is background, and next thing is scenario. Jerkin keywords. Mostly you are going to deal with these keywords when you are writing the script in Cucumber. When you are going to write the script in Cucumber. Maximum, in maximum cases you are going, not maximum cases, you have no other option to use other keywords. You have these options to use these keywords in your scripting part: given, when, then, and, or, feature, background, scenario, like that. So every keyword will be used in a technical way, we can say. In a technical way means in a programmatic way, or in a scripting part, or something like that. So given is nothing but what type of details that you have given. It is nothing but it's a precondition, what you have given, what you require. Let's say for example, uh, you want to log into an application. You want to log in to an application. What is the prerequisite? When you say configure, it's nothing but a jar file. Yes, Harshita. So you asked me a question. Sorry for the delay. When you say configure, it's nothing but the jar file. So it's not only the jar file. When you download Java, or when you download WebDriver client, you are going to say libraries also. That will be downloaded independently. So that will not be in a jar file. Some, so maximum cases, all the downloadables are in jar files only, but Selenium WebDriver client will have two things in the zip folder. One is two client libraries and one is library folder. Okay, means you are going to configure jar files into our Selenium WebDriver, into our Eclipse. Given, so we are talking about just brief description of every keyword: given, when, then, and, like that. Given, so given is nothing but it's a precondition where you are going to have, in order to design the script. In order to design the script, it's not only a precondition. We can use the word prerequisites. So whatever the required things in order to perform some action. Let's say, as we're discussing about the example, you have a login page. What is the prerequisite to log into the application? Means first prerequisite would be you should have URL to display that home page or login page. Second prerequisite is you should have username and password in order to log into the application. Those two are the prerequisites or preconditions which you are going to define with the keyword given. When is nothing but what action needs to be performed. What action needs to be performed, or what you want to execute with the action. Means you have decided some action: log into the application and I want to create an user with my login details. So what is the action that I want to perform here? I want to perform an action to create the user, which is nothing but when is the keyword you are going to use. Okay, then once you have done the action, means you have completed with your preconditions or prerequisites and you have performed the action, and then is nothing but what is the outcome or what is the post parameter that you are going to get. What is the output of this functionality? What is the output of this action? What is the outcome of this action? What is the post processing parameter that you are going to receive? Which is nothing but the output or the expected thing or outcome is nothing but, which is nothing but post condition. We can say we are going to have this post condition under this then keyword, under this then keyword, and or. So these two are the most common things in every programming language. Suppose let's say you have two conditions. If you want to satisfy two conditions, means you have to use the keyword and. Not only two, it may be two or more also. Suppose I want to describe a person, I want to select a person who is having all the list of all these features. The person should have manual testing knowledge. The person should have basic automation knowledge. the person should have basic framework knowledge. I want to select a person who is having these three qualities. Okay, if I want to select a person with these three quality means I have to select all these, I have to analyze all these three features in that particular person. Means I have to satisfied with these three conditions. Means in that case, the person should have manual knowledge, and the person should have automation knowledge, and the person should have framework knowledge. Means in that case, I am going to satisfy three conditions here. Then only I'll get the output. Next thing is or. Or is nothing but any one condition is fine for me. So the person should have manual knowledge, manual testing knowledge, or the person should have automation testing knowledge, or the person should have framework knowledge. Any one is fine out of these three cases, which is nothing but or condition. There is no specific thing or there is no specific restriction to do like this only. Or is simply nothing but any one thing is fine for us, which is nothing but or keyword. Next, feature. What is the feature of this functionality? What is this feature keyword? What it explains? Feature is nothing but the functionality. Feature is nothing but the functionality. Means you are automating one functionality which is nothing but the complete functionality is nothing but the feature. On what features you are working on? We can say in our regular terminology, we can say this feature as a functionality or requirement or business transaction or something like that. But here we are going to use the keyword only feature. Only feature. Next thing is scenario. We will discuss about scenario and then we'll move to background. So scenario. Scenario is nothing but on what scenario or on what basis. Single line description about that functionality is nothing but scenario, right? Suppose let's say for example I have a login page. I want to test that login page. What is the feature of that login page and what is the scenario of that login page? Feature of that login page is to test the login functionality. Okay, scenario is I may have multiple scenario here. Login to the application with successful login with valid credentials, unsuccessful login with invalid credentials, or successful login with valid credentials, which is a completely negative case and irrelevant case to the application. Like that, what type of scenario that? Yeah, I am explaining that only, Harshita. What is the difference between feature and scenario? Feature is nothing but what functionality that you are working on. That is what I have a login page. In that login page, I want to test that login page by using this Cucumber framework or Cucumber script. I want to write the script by using this Cucumber framework. Feature is nothing but what is that particular functionality you are working with. Application with a login page. First functionality is nothing but feature. I am saying login to the application. This is the feature. In that feature, what is the scenario that you want to work? Successful login with valid credentials is one scenario I want to work. Second scenario is unsuccessful login with invalid credentials, invalid login details. Means a feature may have multiple scenarios. A scenario may have multiple steps. Did you understand my point? Or you want me to repeat the same thing again? No, not very clear. Okay, fine. A project is there. So I'm going to have some picture here in order to understand. So this is completely a project. So home page, which is nothing but login page. Okay, and then okay, so this is what a web page is having. This is the home page of the application. Means the feature is what you want to test here. What is the screen that you are going to see here? The feature is nothing but login to the application is the feature. Okay, in that feature you have multiple scenarios. Okay, one scenario is login to the application by entering valid username and valid password and clicking on login button. Second scenario is login to the unsuccessful login to the application by entering invalid username and invalid password and clicking on login button. If you enter invalid credentials, what will happen? It will pop up a message stating that you have entered invalid login details. You have entered invalid login details. Now you got the point what I am saying. Feature is nothing but what feature needs to be tested. Scenario is nothing but inside the feature, what are the ways that you want to test. Is it clear now? Or still have any doubts? Is it clear? Okay. Okay. And the final one is background. What is this background? Background is simply, we can say it is nothing but validation. As I said, when I click on login button with invalid details, system pop-ups a message stating that you have entered invalid credentials. How you are going to say that these are invalid credentials? How the application is going to say that one? Based on the login details what you have entered, it is going to validate in the database. If the login details are matched, then you'll be able to log in. If login details are not matched, then the application is unable to log into that particular homepage or navigates to that particular homepage. Background is simply, we can say, it is nothing but a validation where you are going to have in your script in order to automate perfectly. We can say, suppose, as I said, login page is the feature. Login page is the feature and scenario is successful login with valid credentials. Now what is the background here? The background here is, once you click on login button, the background verification will be user logged in successfully. Second scenario, unsuccessful login with invalid details. Now the background will be user not logged in successfully. This is what background validation checks for this background keyword. So any questions still now? Yeah, background. Background is nothing but validation. Simply we can say condition. Okay. Suppose I have a login page and that is the feature of that particular application, right? If we want to talk about in terms of jerkin keyword, login is the feature of that application. And what about scenarios? What scenarios that we have been discussed now? There are two scenarios we discussed. One is successful login with valid details. Second one is unsuccessful login with invalid details, right? There are two scenarios for one feature. Let us talk about the feature with first scenario. Feature is login page, scenario is successful login with valid credentials, and what is the background in between this? My motto is to log into the application. I have a scenario. I have entered valid username and valid password and clicked on login button. Once you clicked on login button, background keyword will check whether you are logged into the application or not. Then it validates that particular process and it will display that user logged in successfully. Whatever the message that you want to display in the output, it is going to validate that particular output and it will display that particular statement. And in the second case, and in the second scenario, feature is same login functionality and scenario will be unsuccessful login with invalid details. Now the background happened will be like this. You have entered invalid username or invalid password and clicked on login button. System pop-ups a message states that you have entered invalid login details. Please enter valid details and click on OK button. Once you close that pop-up, this background message will be validated stating that unsuccessful login to the application due to invalid details. It is simply nothing but raising a condition or validation. Fine. So I'm going to show you one more time regarding the installation and downloadables what you need to have. So I want you to record this one. I want you to have all these things, or else if you want me to send it in a chat box, I'm going to send it to everyone so that you can copy and you can have all these downloads into your system. We will see the configuration from tomorrow's session. So I hope everything is fine now, because I didn't receive any questions from anyone. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know.